This is Daniel Burrow, and he changed California law forever. And this is how. It all starts with a woman. We'll call her Ruby. She worked at a hotel in California. So one day while Ruby's at work, she gets a phone call from a man who's very frantic on the phone. He calls himself Dr. Stevens, and he says that, listen, Ruby, I'm really not supposed to do this over the phone, but I just got your blood work back, and I hate to tell you, but you have a very rare disease and you're not going to live very long. Ruby says, oh my God, are you freaking kidding me? And why are you saying this over the phone? He goes, listen, don't worry about it. But you have two options. You can have a very expensive surgery that costs $60,000. The surgery is very painful and you'll be out of work for 6 weeks. She says, I can't do that. He goes, okay. Now, there's this experimental serum that's going around that seems to cure the disease you have. And it costs $5,000. She says, I don't have $5,000. He said, what about $1,000? She said, yes, I got that. He said, good. But there's also a problem with the serum. She said, well, what's the problem with the serum? The problem is it's still in its experimental phase, so I can't really get my hands on it. But I do know some patients who take the serum, and once the serum is in your body, it gets in your blood and your other fluids. So you could have sex with one of these guys and allow them to ejaculate in you, and that's the same as getting the serum. And the more they ejaculate in you, the better chance you have of being cured. And I know other people who've done this, and it's worked. So Ruby is confused and naive. One minute she's told she's going to die. The next minute she's told she's going to survive. She's not quite sure what to do, but she chooses to believe the guy. She goes to the boss and says, I need the night off. The boss says, why do you need the night off? She goes, because I have a life-threatening disease and a man is coming here to inject me with some serum. The boss goes, wait a minute, what? He goes, yes, a man is coming to inject me with some serum. I have a life-threatening disease and I need the night off. And the boss goes, okay, you got the night off. And so the boss is sitting there and he's thinking about it some more. And then he goes, what the hell did she just say? So now he calls the police and says, police, you need to come over here. There's some bullshit going on here. I can't explain it, but something's fishy. It doesn't make any sense. I think something crazy is happening. I need you to come here right now. The cop says, no problem, we're on our way. So the police show up at the hotel. They go into the room. They open up the door. They find Ruby in bed with the guy. They walk up to Ruby and say, what's going on here? Ruby says, oh, I have a life-threatening disease and this man just injected me with some serum. They turn to the guy and say, get up, you're under arrest. The guy goes, under arrest for what? And then Ruby realizes that the voice of the guy she just had sex with is the same voice of Dr. Stevens, who was on the phone. So once the DA's office hears about this, they're concerned there may be other victims. So they release the story to the press. Nearly 30 women come forward and say the same thing happened to them. They gave this man thousands of dollars. They had sex with him. Some of them even gave him gifts to thank him for curing them of the disease. So they end up charging Mr. Burrows with fraud, burglary, and rape. Now, Mr. Burrows goes, well, wait a minute. I didn't rape anybody. We had sex consensually. They knew that they were going to have sex with me. Now, you can say I defrauded them. You can call me a piece of shit, but I'm not a rapist. So the initial judge says, yes, you are, and charged him with rape, burglary, and fraud. Then it went to the Court of Appeals. The Court of Appeals looked at the case and said, you know what? We side with Mr. Burrows because we're entering a very dangerous area. Now, men have lied to get sex before. You know, there's men at bars that say that they're a doctor. They say that they're an airline pilot. They say that Denzel Washington's their third cousin. You know, they'll use certain angles in order to get women in bed. Now, that's not a crime. It's unethical, but it's not a crime. So he actually wasn't charged with rape. So California attempted to address that by making it illegal to obtain sex from somebody through fear. If you make somebody feel fearful, then that's considered rape. Also, other states started enacting sex through deception laws. So now it is illegal to misrepresent yourself, to withhold certain information, withhold your sexual disease status. And basically, if you're being deceptive in order to get sex, now in certain states, in certain situations, that could be considered rape. So it's very dicey out there. So, be careful.